All right, good stuff, you know what I mean? Sit down with Greg, Bugsy, you know what I'm saying? We out here in Vegas, you know what I mean? I have linked up with the quintuple OG right here. Born Divine, Born Da Vinci, IndieBoom.com, Voice of the Streets Radio, protecting that WuTang affiliate, WuTang South, the list goes on. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Man,
love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
We out here in his office right now. You know what I mean? We on location, yo. I let us set up a lot of vibes at the laboratory, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But, you know what I'm saying? So for the people that don't know, though, like, so what made you choose Born Divine, you know what I mean, to represent you, you know what I'm saying?
Actually, I was in the Nation of the Gods and the Earths when I was incarcerated. And I was also in the Moore Science Temple of America, Sunni community, all of that. Being is that I went through different chambers of knowledge when I was in the joint, I had a different type of effect in prison. Like, I was probably one of the only inmates that the COs would just pop my cell and let me go get on the phone and call uptown, collect, call my lawyer, whatever I was doing, because of the way that I was moving. You know, I even had COs ask me, had I been in the military before and shit. So when you study in the knowledge, you know that number 9 in the Supreme Math is born, and then in the Supreme Alphabet, you got divine is the 4th degree of the Supreme Alphabet. So being is that I was moving the way that I was moving, and I knowledge 120, that's the attribute that they gave me, Born Divine. It means complete, or to be completely the highest, because divine means the highest. You know what I mean? So Born Divine, I'm the highest form of completion. You know what I'm saying? Which is 120 knowledge, 120 wisdom, 120 understanding, God, earth, and the seas, man, woman, and child. It's the unification of the Holy Trinity. You know what I mean? So it also represents life, death, and resurrection. You know what I'm saying? Represent the Ankh, Christ, the Christ mindset. You know what I mean? So that's where Born Divine came from originally.
Word. So, what was your rap names before that? Before you got knowledge and stuff? When
man.
you first started rapping, you know what I mean? What was your first rap name? You know what I mean?
Oh man, yo, back in the day when I was young, first raps and shit, my rap name was Vitamin D.
Pause on that. Vitamin D. That's it. Back in the day. So what was the knowledge on that? What was the science on that? What made you choose that back in the day?
I mean, it was just funny. You know what I'm saying? It was just funny. It was, you know.
Your name start with D?
Yeah, Darnell.
Yeah,
so it was like Vitamin D. You know what I'm saying? And you know, trying to be a lover and all of that. You know what I mean?
Let me hear that first verse. I know you still got a few bars.
My first rhyme.
I know you still got a few bars.
Oh,
give us 8. Give us 4.
My first rhyme. The first rhyme I ever wrote when I was young, like 5th grade type shit.
Yes, sir. I know you got it.
I said, I beg your pardon, now I'm starting hyping up this jam, but I don't have too long, so I got to cram my lyrics all together into one big bunch. Now hold on to your seat and get ready for the crunch. Get a whiff for the cut, son, tell me if you like. I serve the rhymes through this thing that you call a mic. One after the other comes another and another. Hurry up and write them down while I'm spitting funky sound. You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
5th grade.
That's dope. That's dope. So,
grade.
like, who introduced you to MCing? Like, how did you? Was it a cousin, a neighbor? Like, how did you get into being a master of ceremony?
On a real tip, I grew up around bands. My uncle Melvin, Mr. Music Melvin, right? R.I.P. You know what I'm saying? He was a singer back in the 80s, in the 70s and the 80s. He had a group called the Sagittarians. You see what I'm saying? And I'm a Sagittarius. So my youngest uncle played the bass, my Uncle Jay. He used to take me back and forth to his band practices since I was a baby. So I grew up, it was a drum set and band stuff in my grandfather's basement where they used to rehearse. So my youngest uncle, by him being the youngest, you know, they got to that era of, in the 80s, where he started DJing parties. So he came home and he had the, you know, the first rap album I heard, you know what I mean, at the time, I think it was LL Cool J or something. It was, no, matter of fact, it was Run DMC, you know? So he started playing the record, you know what I mean? My friends was breakdancing over there in East Baltimore, like Ashland and McDonough, Ashland and Rutland, you know, I grew up around there. So Cats was breakdancing and popping, pop locking and whatnot. And we would make our little rhymes up. But it was just fun at that time. It was just for fun. I think the first person that really inspired me to really rap, actually write rhymes, was my boy Brian Grant. We talking like 80, maybe like 85, 86. I was going out to the county where Billy Live is from, actually. And my boy Antoine, he like my big brother to this day. His name's Antoine Williams. So, you know, Billy Live is a Williams. They family. They like, that's his big cousin. His big cousin is like my big brother. Blood couldn't make us no closer. So we used to rap and do, we used to do our little dance steps, break dance, and then we used to rap. We used to do little talent shows and win and whatnot like that. So that was like early part of really getting into MCing. But, you know, some people took it serious. I never really took it that serious, man. Like I just did it for fun, really, until I was in prison. And then my cell buddy was from Boston, named Slick One. Shout out to Slick One in New Boston. He was an artist. He designed a whole clothing line, business plan, everything, called New Boston. And I used to battle for commissary because nobody was putting money on my books. I take your commissary in the courtyard off the dome. Like I wasn't writing. I'm just coming off the head. That's ill. And that's how I was surviving. That's real hip-hop. You feel me? And then my cell buddy was drawing portraits of people so they could send to their families. That's how he was surviving, because he didn't have no family in Maryland. So he told me I got the skills to make it. He said, yo, if you start writing, I think you got the skills to make it. And from that day, because he was older than me, I started writing. And that's what caused me to take it serious.
Damn, that's ill. That's
real shit. Real live shit. Like,
so, you know what I'm saying? Like, who was some early producers? Like, when you really started getting on some original tracks, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. First original beat that I rapped on was after I came home. It was my boy, my cousin, actually. He's a distant cousin, Andre. Dre, my man Mill, Big Jamil from up on Patterson Park in Jefferson, introduced me to Andre from North and Warwick. He had a company called After Rest Productions. He shot me my first original beat. So
that was priceless back then. You know what I mean? Now they go on YouTube, it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, we gonna fast forward a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like, how did you and the WuTang Clan collide? You know what I mean? How did those two worlds collide? You know what I mean?
Man, me and Capadonna met through Kareem Allah. Kareem Allah was a brother that was in the mosque with me, and we were soldiering, selling the bean pies and the papers, moving around the city, just hustling the movement and trying to be independent of, you know, the European system. And one day, it was election day, or no, it was voting day when Bush was running for office. And Cap came through the corner, and I wasn't on the corner that day, and he asked Kareem Allah, got a final call on the bean pie, and said, yo, who should I vote for? And Kareem was like, does it really matter? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna change nothing. So they traded numbers, and they had linked up, and Cap kept asking Kareem, like, yo, make Salat with me. And Kareem was praying, standing up like this. He was like, nah, I wanna make Salat, like Arabic, like I wanna make Salat. And Kareem was like, I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna introduce you to Brother Don L3X. He know how to do it. And he said, brother, you know, the God, born divine. He's like, all right, so the 9th anniversary of the Million Man March, we came back from Chicago. Mother Tanetta was at the mosque, and Capadonna came through the mosque that day, and I was out in front of the mosque selling bean pies, papers, and whatnot, and Kareem introduced me to him. And then from that day, me and Cap made Salat like every day for months. Never talked about music or nothing until one day he invited me to the studio. He wanted me to speak on his album like the minister. You know, he wanted me to just come in and do an intro. And they were checking the sound over at Star Spangle Studio. Shout out to Star Spangle. And he was like, yo, say something. You know how they gotta get your levels. So I just started rapping. And Cap was sitting back watching me. He's like, yo, is that freestyle? I'm like, nah. He's like, yo, you got something you could put on this track? I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, yo, spit that. And I spit the verse. And after that, he had left and went to New York. And I guess he let RZA's brother Divine and let his brother Lounge Mode, shout out to Divine and Lounge, hear the song. And they was like, yo, who's that? And he was like, oh, that's my man Born. And then when he came back, he was like, yo, I'm going to Arizona. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'm trying to go. And then after that, he was like, yo, you should be my hype man. I was like, you know, let's do it. And then from that point, it's been a roller coaster. I was his hype man, then became his business partner, or I became the most featured artist on the second project, and then became his business partner. We started the Better Life movement, you know what I mean? And we both had the clothing stores. I had the clothing store in Greenmount. He had the clothing store on Bel Air Road. And we was just hustling, man. We was just getting money together and doing music. Music was like secondary to us. You know what I'm saying? We hook up on real brotherhood and make us a lot and help uplift each other.
So for people that don't know, you know what I mean, what does that mean? You know what I mean? That makes a lot that, you know what I mean, that brought you on Capadon. What does that mean to the average person that don't know?
Salat means to just make prayer, man. That's all. Salat just means prayer in Arabic. It's just an Arabic word that means prayer. Supplication. You know what I'm saying? Praying for forgiveness for however you messing up in life. You know what I mean? And that's what me and his relationship was built on. It wasn't built on the music. The music come and go. But that right there is always solid. You know what I mean? Because the ultimate reality is the Most High.
Still, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? IndieBoom.com, you know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about that platform. You know what I mean? The beginnings up to now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Indie Boom, like I said, it was a vision that came from a saying that this female Sikatakia that I was working with out here in Vegas, she used to say boom, you know, a lot. Like, boy, boom. She would say that shit when you say something to make her mad or that she wasn't trying to hear or whatever the case. And it's just stuck with me. So I started, you know what I mean? So I started saying Indie Boom. You know what I'm saying? She'll say boom. I'll be like Indie Boom. You know what I mean? Like just to be an asshole about it. But it stuck. And I began to work on a game plan to put it all together. I had originally had a vision for distribution. You know, back when dial-up internet was popping. You know, me and Sparkman was doing video chats over the dial-up from one studio to another. So I said, yo, we can stream our own music overseas and then ship the CDs out. This is around the time when CD Baby probably might have first started. It might have been before CD Baby. But I wanted to do digital distribution myself, and I had been formulating the idea and never had a name until I came to Vegas and was working with her. Then I went to Texas, and I got a deal for the Black Diamonds album from the Crates out in Germany. They did all of the production. And I recorded the album. You know, they paid me my first independent advance with like 10 bands. You know what I mean? And I was cool with that because at that time I was on the run. So I needed that 10 bands. Like, you know, I'm finna, and I was doing like $500 shows out here in Vegas. Like, I'm bouncing around from venue to venue, catching a little 500 here, 500 there. You know what I mean? Just surviving. It was a trial though. It was rough trying to get the right people to help develop the idea because at that time the idea didn't exist. So most people couldn't even understand what I was referring to. So that took years. And then finally in 2011, 2012, I found a programmer. I got an investor out here in Vegas. Shout out to McDonald Music Group. You know what I'm saying? They took the shot and invested in me, invested in the idea. And now, 8, 9, 10 years later, we still here. We put out major projects, 2 Gucci Man projects, a Waka Flocka project, a Locks project, Born Divine and Neo, Born Divine and Yo Gotti, Born Divine and Flow Rider, Born Divine and Beanie Siegel and Godfather Part 3. There's been some legendary projects that we didn't put out. Even the video, rundown video with me and Ty Nitty. We put out a Chi King project, both video and album, the I'm Good album.
That's kind of ill too. I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, how'd you link up? Because that's like, you know, WuTang family tree linked up with the infamous Mobb Deep family tree.
Right.
You know what I mean? How did that connection come together with those brothers?
Yo, me and Nitty been tight for years. Capadonna was managed by Honor Management from Iron Chamber Music Group. Shout out to Honor, aka Iron Sheep. You know, he was managing Cap. I was Cap hype man. Then he was also managing Infamous Mobb. He was managing Shaheem. You know what I mean? All of us was under the same management, and so we all was in communication with each other at some point. So, but from the time I met Nitty, he just been a solid dude ever since I known him. You know what I'm saying? Real good brother. And then I was coming out here to Vegas, and Don Mega plugged me into Godfather Part 3. So when I first got to town, I linked up with Godfather Part 3 and DJ Amaze. I took them out to the club. You know what I'm saying? We having a ball, we hanging out. And then me and G.O.D. got tight. Me and Nitty was already tight. And then they introduced me to Twin, and it just all came together like that. You know, like I said, me and Nitty had years of communicating, but had never met face to face. But once I got out here, he came out. He live out here now, you know? So me and Nitty, we ride or die, and G.O.D. Twin, you know, Twin, he in his own lane doing his own thing, but that's my man too.
Yo, rest in peace to Prodigy from Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? Rest in peace Old Dirty from WuTang. You know what I mean? So, you know, take us on a normal Vegas life, you know what I mean? Outside of the business, you know what I mean? Born Divine, the dad, the businessman.
Man.
You know what I mean? We should wake up, you know what I mean? Take us through a day in Vegas. What's to do, you know what I mean?
Man, I wake up personally to a 6-year-old, you know what I mean, that's running around, running the house for real, you know what I mean? And then from there, my day is, my studio is in my house. You know, I go down, I sit at my desk, I cut that engine on, you know what I mean, and I start fumbling through beats, trying to get the next product ready and cooking it up. And then I might call my business partner, my co-star Yuthi, and we might discuss, you know, what we doing for the podcast, because the podcast is every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We on the digital radio side with rapstation.com, Woo World Radio, and Media Made Radio and Magazine. But we preparing to launch the video and audio on Hype TV, Roku, Universe Network, and various other networks. So early in the morning is that, and plus politicking with this cooperative economics, with the cryptocurrency, ghetto government, which I'm also official of, building with Honorable Frank Newman, the president of Protect Your Neck Records, figuring out what direction we ready to take next. On the other side of things, I have various projects that I'm working on in Vegas when it comes to commerce and trade, you know what I mean, and teaching people more science and helping them get nationalized so that they can get to the proper status when it comes to the legal structure. So I've been helping a lot of people do that. And outside of that, when it comes to like leisurely things, Vegas is a beautiful and magical place, man. It's the entertainment capital of the world. So there's 1,000,001 things to get involved with. There's shows that you could go check out. There's rides. There's beautiful restaurants, like the Top of the Stratosphere is one of the best restaurants I've eaten at out here. Then they got Maryland Crab Corner. You know what I'm saying? They got the crab corner out here, so you can get you can get that same flavor from home in the desert. You know what I mean? So you know, eat your Old Bay, and you know what I'm saying, and get it popping out here, because it's like that. Outside of that, man, I don't do much. You know what I'm saying? Do my little workout, go to the park. You know what I'm saying? Wrestle with my boys. I got a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. You know, so I spend a lot of time raising young men and teaching them the knowledge of self, so that they don't walk around out here and be no fool, man, you know? We gotta educate the babies and put them on a different level, you know?
Word, man, you know, man, yo, well, we gonna wrap it up. I know you recently lost your moms and all that. Anything you wanna say to her, you know what I mean, real quick, and, you know, just leave it like that, you know what I mean? Yeah,
man, it's the hardest thing I ever did in my life, bro. honestly, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life, you know, and the one and only parent that I've had my whole entire life is no longer here. And that is the worst feeling in the world, man. That's just all I can say is you know, I feel like somebody, you know, took an ice pick and just carved my chest out. Real reality rap, man. So what I'm gonna say to everybody out there is honor your parents, man, while you got the time. Give them the roses while they living, you know? Treat them right while they here. Cherish it. Because once they gone, you can't pick up that phone and get no advice. You can't pick up that phone and ask for no help. You can't even get an I love you no more and hear their voice no more. You know?
That's real.
So.
That's a jewel right there. That's jewelry right there, man. Born Divine.
Word up.
Support the brother, get the merch, protect your neck. Born Divine, Born Da Vinci on all the platforms. Follow, like, stream. Sit down with Greg Bugsy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, WR Radio app. And that's it, yo. Rest in peace to moms. You know what I'm saying? And looking forward to all the great things, brother. You already know I'm gonna be in the loop, you know what I mean? And I advise y'all stay in the loop as well. You know what I mean? Straight like that. Peace. You know what I mean?